They're not going to the playoffs this year, and I'm not sure Deion Sanders is ever going to get them to the playoffs because I don't think he has the patience to stay at Colorado long enough. There's so many misconceptions out there. Deion Sanders is the best salesman I've ever seen. I personally love the guy and for what he stands for, but the program looking out has a ridiculously inflated view of itself. I heard Shedeur Sanders, who's a fabulous quarterback, say last week, "We are everyone's Super Bowl." Shedeur, you are not. You are an easy win nowadays. So I know that the media loves this story. We fall all over ourselves, but Colorado isn't important in college football. Colorado is nothing. They don't matter. They're irrelevant in the big picture of college football.
Paul, why you lying like that? Why are you lying like that? Colorado was everybody's Super Bowl last year. You don't believe me? Look at the TV numbers. Whether you like it or not, their games ranked the highest, no matter what. The Colorado State had their biggest TV rating ever because they played Colorado. I don't know if you noticed, Paul, Dan Lanning had a big-ass promo video before the locker room, before they played Colorado, and saying, we need to win this game. You need to go out and dominate. Everybody's watching. We're not based on clicks. We're based on whatever. That's not occurring with any other team they played. He ain't talked that nonsense when they played the Huskies. He wasn't talking like that when he played any other team. No. And Colorado was their most watched game. And I feel like you're taking away from that metric just because you're a hater. But what I loved about Coach Prime and the Buffaloes this past week, they went to the Big 12 Media Day, and it was just so much of a difference. Just coming into a new conference. Last year, Coach Prime wasn't able to go to the Pac-12 championship, Pac-12 Media Day. And I think that Media Day was just absolutely weird. Everyone knew that the Pac-12 was in flux. They didn't know what was going to happen. So it wasn't more relaxed time. In Big 12, more coaches are there. More coaches are confident with their egos there. And I'm not disrespecting Lincoln Riley or Dan Lanning or anybody else, but it was much like, who is this new guy? Why is he getting all this attention? In the Big 12, you have established coaches that he actually has connections with. I remember Coach Prime talking fondly about Texas Tech playing Oregon last year and the coach down there, but I had no idea the connection. The Texas Tech head coach actually coached Bucky in high school, so he's known him for a long, long time. So there was great adoration there. Gus Malzahn is a fantastic coach, been doing it for many, many years. Used to be an Auburn head coach, used to be with Arkansas State, and now he's with UCF as the head coach. And he's a fantastic coach, and he used to be that lightning rod coach, so he has that kind of a appreciation from that. The thing I took from Big 12 Media Day, people were comfortable. They're ready to compete. And I'm not just talking about the Buffaloes. I'm talking about, Texas Tech is up there. They got their program. UCF has got their program. Kansas has their program. Kansas has a damn good program. And it's just more, it's more ready to go. They know this is what we got to do. We want to win, and we're showing up. And Coach Prime, not only was he comfortable with himself, which he always is, he's comfortable with the opposing coaches. They seem more welcoming, and it's all about the kids, and it's all about playing to the best ability. And that's what naturally all of them are about. Let me talk about Travis Hunter, all right? I've said this before. Seeing him in person is incredible. He has cat-like quickness. I think he loves to play wide receiver. When I watched him, he loved to have the ball in hand. He loved to make plays. He loved to make people miss. However, this whole notion that, and I'm talking about Coach Prime in this part, I get it, it's biased. He's arguably the best wide receiver in the country. That is completely untrue. That's something you got to say as a coach. I can understand that. That's your guy. You got to stand behind him. But that's just not reality. The kid in Arizona, to me, is by far head and shoulders above the rest of the country. Oregon has some great receivers coming out. LSU just put out 2 first-round receivers, and they got another guy coming up. I just read an article about the Alabama wide receiver who's bench pressing 450 and running a 4.3. So There's a lot of competition. And going into last year, even with Travis with saying he would not been hurt, I don't think he was a top 20 wide receiver. Now, guys have jumps, guys have leaps throughout seasons. That's why they have an off season. And I'm sure he's made a jump on that side of the ball. But I don't think he's the best wide receiver in the country, not by far. I think he'll have a decent to great career as a wide receiver. But let me tell you, if he was just a DB, when you say arguably, I would take arguably out of it. Will Johnson, much respect to you. Travis Hunter is the best cornerback in the country. There's no argument to me about it. The problem is I think he likes to play cornerback. He likes to play that, but he's so much better at cornerback. He's able to jump routes, cover guys. He has holes, but you know what player does not? And I'll talk about that in a second. But I think he could be dominant. I mean, I think he is dominant on that side of the ball, but I mean, dominant as far as the Darrelle Reeveses, the Richard Sherman in his prime, the Sauce Gardners, like that's that guy. And I believe he could do that. I think the holes he has to work on, and I think this is because of his coach's view on it. Maybe he doesn't want him being as forceful or tackling or whatnot, but you could tell he struggled against bigger wide receivers that don't count on separation to catch the football. And I'm talking about the game against Stanford. They had a bigger physical kid. He kept throwing it on his side, and they would run the routes where when you're a physical wide receiver, you know where the ball's going. You know where your catch points are. So it doesn't matter if the guy's draped on top of you. You can still catch the ball. And if you are a physical receiver, you can lean up on him. And then they ran on his side a few times in a few different games. If you could be physical with him, make him actually have to hit and tackle, you get a possession wide receiver that can catch 10 balls on him. That's not his game. His game is cover, off man to man, in your face, backing up, jumping routes, that kind of change, playmaker. And everybody's not going to be good at everything. But with that being said, I think it's going to be a great season. I don't think they're saying Colorado's not a playoff team, and we don't know yet. With as many teams as been available for this upcoming college football playoff, I can't say they're not a playoff team. They got to get through a hellacious first start of the season because Nebraska got it on their mind. North Dakota State is not an easy opponent. They got Colorado State coming back up. That's another rivalry game. So they got to get through all of that before they can actually get to the rest of the season, So you go, however many games, then you got to play Texas Tech with a coach that knows you very, very well. It's going to be a tough road, a tough part of the season, but we're going to see if they can get it on track, keep Shedeur upright. They're 9-0 going into the back half of the season. I think they got a good shot because the kids will be able to see it. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments below. Always much love to y'all. Appreciate y'all. And talk to y'all soon. Heritage Sports.